Boom! Welcome to Tattoo Shop Talk, weekly web show where we talk about tattoo related stuff and maybe you can learn something or you can teach us something. If you can teach us something, don't be shy. Leave a note in comments. We will learn and appreciate it. And like always, you can subscribe and like videos and share videos and do all the good stuff. And today we will talk about things that feel like it's those things that people say because they have to say them. And it's just like, when you hear one thing too much and in different contexts, you're like, why do you say it? Let's start with tattooists because we meet them. We spend more time with them. So let's start with
I love it.
what's a common thing you hear from tattooists and it doesn't always add up.
I think that's
Words doesn't add up to actions.
that's also one of the things that stands out the most from all you see. What they do, yeah. A lot of great tattooers, they do art and they become kind of also artists in like traditional way of painting and whatnot.
Classical way or whatever you call it.
Yeah, and then but then also there's these celebrity tattooers that we see on YouTube and TV and whatnot, and
most likely on Facebook.
Mostly,
yeah. They're the loudest ones, but not maybe necessarily the best ones. But yeah, it's love art. I love art. Love art. This is
people
my art.
People get inspired by great people and they think that it's there.
Yeah, no.
So they become my art people. Mostly, I wouldn't say all tattooers, but there is a lot of tattooers who really do this thing, and there's a lot of tattooers who are my art and get picky and aggressive sometimes.
Yeah, you hear a lot, I love my art, this is like what I love to do, and like I said, we're talking about the loudest ones, not the best ones. There's a lot of good tattooists and really good artists and all that, but the loudest ones are usually the ones, I love art, like, I do it for the art, and they would often talk shit about somebody else, and oh, he's just doing it for the money and not for the love of the art, and then you see them just printing other people's stuff out. And I'm not talking like, you just printed a realistic copy. I'm talking about printing straight up other people tattoos or other people designs and being, oh look, we found this picture, therefore this is my art, and then just transferring it to the skin. And they love art, I guess they do.
I mean, there's all kinds of tattooers. Sometimes you do work in that way, you kind of transform the design that's made and make it a little bit your way, but that's their way of the working, and customers are happy. And I mean, does not look like they are copies, but sometimes people just trace it one to one and call themselves an artist, and then they get angry. And when customer comes and says he wants to change something, he's getting aggressive.
Also, I've been in situations where customer comes in and is like, oh, I got this tattoo somewhere else, can you fix it up, because I'm not like entirely happy with it. You straight away recognize where the copy is taken from, and that particular was, I think, the original was Emily Rose. So the guy, he said like, oh, like the tattooist who was fixing it's like, it'd be nice to have a reference. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it's on Emily Rose's Instagram. So it needed some fixing up, and obviously we didn't say no to the customer, but the first artist did that art, and it was straight up, it was probably screenshot blown up, traced, stenciled, and it was out.
And also then we can talk about copycat stuff that goes.
Yeah, and it's also like the same people, they say, this is my passion, this is what I love doing, and then usually again the loudest ones, like you said, is the copycat hunters, I call them.
I have a feeling sometimes they just wake up with the hope that they will catch another guy who copies their work. But when you look at their works, they look the same like other people's work. So you get inspired, or you copy other person's work that's super similar to that original work, and someone else steals your work just with the same attitude, and maybe he has no skill level like you do, and then you get angry about it, and that's like weird thing.
Obviously, again, we're not talking about big iconic pieces like convention winning pieces, where also that happens, where somebody does a stunning work and somebody else just straight up copies it.
But it's just also goes.
Yeah, but it's like, that's okay. There's a reason to be upset. But if you look at like, you take a animal, realistic, throw a piece of jewelry on it, and then you get upset that somebody copied it. It's like, maybe they did it the same way. Maybe they had the customer who's like, I love this lion and I like this necklace, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like a lot of people know that tattooing is kind of based on copying. You can be original, you can change things, you can do your own, but if you don't do it, but you can do like a piece that's a little bit different from, because your signature, right? Like you can feel that this is from that guy because he has his own kind of way of doing it. But it's not a problem if you get inspired and take ideas or whatever. That's just my opinion, because it's been always like that since old days.
And maybe you shouldn't post copies if you know that it's a copy as your own work, you know? Like, maybe you shouldn't be like, oh, this is my art. Like, no, it's not yours, it's somebody else's. You just reproduced it. But that's
not good to copy, but it's, if you can hide it and make it your way, then I mean, that's how you do it.
Or at least don't brag about it. But like I said, the worst. Like, there's a lot of good people, but assholes are the loudest, you know?
Exactly.
Less artists, more tattooists. But there's one thing I heard lately a lot is, because it looks like there's these coil and rotary machine groups, or cartridge machine groups also called. And
that's been for some time, right?
Yeah, but it's just I've talked to more people like that, and there's been multiple times when you're like talking and like, oh yeah, how's your tattooing been going and all that, and have you always worked with rotaries or you worked with coils? Yeah, I love coils for lines. Or like, yeah, okay, makes sense. I heard it a lot. And like, how long you worked with the coils? I'm like, oh no, I tried them once. And it's like, how can you say that? And I heard it a bunch of times, so it feels it's also one of those things you say because you have to say it. It's always like,
people just want to sound like they understand everything, and instead of like, oh, what's better?
Yeah, there's like, have to act smart, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I want to look cool. We've all been in the start, you know? We know what the fuck is going on.
And it's like, you don't have to love coils if it's not your thing. If you've been like learning and doing in some place where nobody uses them, like, why would you even know them? And I think it's okay to say that you're like, I have no idea.
Yeah, because everyone knows how long you've been tattooing. Yeah. If you would be tattooing for 10 years and wouldn't know what's going on, then you have to be ashamed, you know. but
in 21st century, all your Facebook tells your experience.
So what do you think?
I think they're good for lines, but I think you don't have to say things you don't know just because everyone says it, you know.
Yeah.
If you've been tattooing for 2 years only with rotary, and you heard from old guys saying, oh yeah, they're good for lines, you don't have to say it because they said it. Because usually when somebody asks you, what's your opinion, they ask for your opinion, like your experience. You don't need to
repeat YouTube.
Justify what somebody said on YouTube. I wanted to mention it because I heard it like more than I would expected from people who's not into that stuff at all. So I found that it's not really a problem or anything. I just find it funny that people put them in that position where they're like, just make them look weird.
Yeah, man.
There's also opposite front of all this situation.
Yeah, that's even more weird.
Like loyal to the coil people, which is, again, that's not a bad thing. But then you get those people who like...
respect your traditions. That's more like that. But if you just, again, if you just do that just because it sounds cool, that makes no sense. Because I know that some people, especially from old days, they believe in that and they're doing it and it's fine. It's like the same with the people fucking make paintings with brushes, and some people make digital paintings, and that's how you choose your way, you know?
You hear those dudes like, oh yeah, like rotary is like a dildo and it's like looks like a vape and it sometimes even sounds like a dildo.
And it does look like a dildo. And
it's fine, but then
if you are dirty-minded.
But then they also have some weird machine in their own arsenal. They're like, oh no, but this is different kind of rotary. And I'm not even speaking about some holy grail of Dan Cuban stuff, but they just have something like, oh yeah, but I got this one. Just in case, you know, if somebody asks for something more realistic or more soft, or just like, oh, I got it for a good price, and then it's like, so what about your dildo stuff? And they're like, no, but this is different, you know.
Yeah.
There's always that exception situation. So that's another thing that...
And when you become a dildo owner, you suddenly wanna get into that thing with some of your friends. You
Yeah,
know what I
you
mean?
start to
You
explore.
started like, hey man, you should try it too. You know, so you're not the only one. You know,
My
they
dildo, my dildo experience was amazing.
Dude, you should try it. I tried it once, and
Dildo?
I can tell you I liked it. Yep.
Rotaries.
We're talking about rotaries, you dirty-minded beast. So it's actually, I tried it and it was smooth, but I mean, the machines I found, they work so good for me that I'm happy, and when I will feel that I have to move on, I will do it. Now I'm satisfied with what the machines can do, and that's how I go forward. But
Yeah,
if
that's, I think, is better to say that, like, yeah, okay, maybe, but I don't need it now. Because, like, you know, sometimes you just don't need to...
Yeah.
You're comfortable with what you're doing, the way you're doing.
In my own comfort zone, I know it's nice to try things. That's why I also tried it. But I'm like, no, this is not yet. Maybe not. I don't know. Who the fuck knows?
For your style, for your set of skills, you're comfortable with what you do. You don't need to... Basically, you don't need to be dick about stuff. You don't need... I'm loyal to the coil. I will not tattoo with a dildo.
Yeah.
But dildo owners again are like, this is loud. This is old. This is fucking shit. And like, you know,
Vibrating.
I think the works speak for it. Like, if you're comfortable doing the job, and the job is good, and the customer is also happy, like whatever, tattoo it with the stick, you know.
Yeah, and there is some kind of beauty about it, and everyone knows that. I mean, coil machines make the environment sound a little more authentic.
Yeah, that's one thing. But then again, maybe you don't always need it, you know. Maybe
That's the thing. That's why you decide what's better for your work. People who move on, usually the smart way is just because of your work, not because someone bought it and you just have to fucking, you know.
And there's no like
ignore.
There's no solid evidence that one is better than other. It's just experiences.
Yeah.
And you can see a lot of good work and a lot of bad work with any machine and without machine and with anything basically.
Yeah. And there's these stories that like coil machines with vibration can damage your arms in a long period
joints
of time.
And whatnot.
Yeah. So I mean, if you look in that way, again, that's a lot of reasons why people change machines. Because of the health as well. I mean, it sounds weird for people who don't know, but actually, if you work for 20 years and that stuff vibrates every day for 20 years, you know.
But again, like
not for everyone.
Like one of the colleagues I work with, his health was giving in. It was all the arms situation. Like he said, it's not necessarily just the machine; it's the whole situation, because you've been working in some old school places with rough environments where you tattoo person sitting on the box in a weird angle. So like it's just all those things adding up, but that's way different now. And also I think if you say about quality of work, first of all, the personal experience have changed in last, like every tattooist is different. Like if you speak to them 10 years ago and 5 years ago, the skill is different, the experience is different. On top of that, like needles, inks are coming out all the time, new and better and different and all that, and like.
And if you want to stay loyal to coils, then you can be loyal to so many things that makes no sense, and that's how it sounds for this shit. For me, at least, it's like if you say I'm loyal to coils, it's the same to saying I'm loyal to not having printer in my shop. So
yeah, it's like, well, I mean, again, we're not speaking about everyone. We just speaking about the loudest examples with less proof on a thing, you know.
But it's also not like what they do is something that annoys me, for example. It's just like, for me, it's funny. I think it's
like
weird.
Like the name of this episode, it just feels like it's the things they say because they have to say it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And one thing, again, when in preparation for this episode, we figured out that it's pretty common is from tattooists is blaming on situations and customers and market and things like that. And then when you meet some people who are like experienced, who you know and whose life is okay and they do the stuff, it always somehow comes down that you hear from one side they're like, economics are shit now, customers are shit now, too many shops, too many requirements, too many ideas, like too demanding people shopping for price. The side that is not complaining they're always fine, and they're like, just like, yeah, we do our job, we step up the game, you know, and we do all this stuff, and they're good. And the people who complain seems that they just can't adapt, or maybe there's other reasons that they're not so good anymore.
It's not like, of course, it's not always that if something's not going right with your shop is just because you're not doing it all you can. I've seen a lot of times when even tattooers says that, hey man, I don't like that you're tattooing my friends, you know, because he's like going crazy because he have not enough work and he's getting aggressive to other people. For example, then you think about it, he's not using any internet posts or what do you call it?
Yeah, like social
media stuff. So he's not doing anything to show what he can do, and I think in these days when there is so many shops, you actually, that's how you survive.
Or at least let know that you are still doing it, because like, you know, there's everyone else bombing the stuff out, and they think they're like,
it's crazy. You just like, you have to show what you're doing. That's for me it worked.
And I heard from so many like things I've listened, and from the interviews I did with people, they like, even if they're old timers, they say it's different now, it's maybe harder now, it's more competition, but it also makes you stay more alert to follow the thing. You're like, oh my god, this guy is doing this now, and like I should step up my game in this department, in that department, and like, you know, like even the basics, have your, I don't know, Facebook, Instagram, Google sorted, so if somebody is searching for tattoo, they can also find you, not only the most marketed shop, but everyone can be the most marketed shop. Like, get your Google done, Instagram, get all your addresses, don't be a dick to people, start a YouTube channel, you know, whatever.
Even like...
Because like, I think maybe somebody will say, but I've done everything. But you probably haven't done everything, and maybe there's a lot of things that you don't even know about. So maybe you should network, communicate, and see how things are. Because like, if you're sitting in your own bubble, things are going down, you're just like, must be the economics, the crisis.
But it's just if you want to survive, you know.
Yeah, it's just
for some people you don't need that. It just works how it works, or the guys has name, or they work in a good shops. There's all kinds of ways how people work, but I've seen personally people like you telling now that guys not doing anything and complaining about it, that there's other faults, not his own, you know.
And there's also like let's plug this in, there's also that Facebook group which is also Tattoo Shop Talk, which is for like tattooists and people working within industry, and sometimes people get upset about certain things and all that, but it's just like, you know, if it's that bad, don't do it. Like, you know, like if you hate your job that much, don't do it. Or step up your game, because there's a reason why you were good and busy and now you're not. So like, you know, because, oh yeah, but they're doing the thing with prices and all that. Okay, if the price is an issue and you can't lower it, maybe you should explain why your price is better. And every now and then those posts go in very aggressive manner, and then you think like, okay, but if you talk to everyone like this, then maybe that's the reason, you know. And there's also always the loudest like kind of examples are not the best examples, and it's like double check, make a list of things.
Kind of I think it's just frustration and just giving up.
I think you could do like, you know, a checklist of things you have done to improve things that you could do, and maybe look at other shops, see what they are doing, you know, and be like, oh, I missed this one thing out, you know. There's a reason why people spend years mastering some skill. And the same goes to the businesses, you know, like there's a business specialist and there's people who open a shop and they're like, I'm a businessman now, and then like, oh, my business is not going well. Look into real things, or look into numbers kind of thing.
And this is not just like tattoo shop's opinion, tattoo shop talks opinion.
Yeah, that's
actually like a lot of people talk about this. This is not like...
And it goes into different areas, you know, like I heard the same thing from people doing sports. They're like, you know, I started to market myself, position myself, and I get more people to train kind of things, like, you know, and sales and everything.
And maybe 10 years ago it was different, but come on, man, like we have iPhones we can watch movies on. We can see where we've been yesterday.
Yeah, and
if you can remember.
We can leave shitty comments about places and whatnot.
We can get in fight on comments and then get beaten up in real life. But
leave a comment now. If you have anything to say, leave a comment down below and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, be awesome, and also check our other videos. Check this video here that pops up and this one right there, and subscribe to this channel in this circle.
And then check this video right here.
That's the channel. That's the channel.
Yeah, sorry,
channel.
channel.
It's a
Here.
yeah.
Yeah, check this out as well. Bing, bing, bing.